YouTube for me.
Yeah, but the way it's set, it's gonna be sideways.
Oh, we saw it's not right.
That's what I was saying.
Turn it sideways.
Like this way?
No.
Okay, hang tight. Tell us when it's right. This way.
No. It has to be up and down.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, I'm not Instagram.
Is it right now?
So you know guys, we are so technically
I can hear you.
challenging. Okay.
It's still
I'm gonna
sideways?
let you
It's gonna take
in
a
as
minute.
soon as they get everything set up. And here we are.
Is it fixed now?
Don't leave this.
I can hear you.
Thank you.
Now it's right? Okay. Thanks.
You guys right here. Boom.
That's because of how the camera is.
Here, babes.
On
Take
that
this. And put that camera up and down right there.
Yeah, that one.
You can have it. Okay. So I don't know why we're not together, but I bet we got some good information for you. And here we are.
The thing is going. Hold on.
Put the
Oh,
leg,
okay.
push the leg back. Here we go.
There we go. Are we cooking with grease now?
She not here.
All
She's
right.
still
So Shadina and I are technically challenged. We don't know how to do this, but what we do know is how to get you pregnant. So that part, we got plenty of information.
Can you hear me?
Tell them to go to YouTube and it should be live on YouTube.
Yeah, at Surrogacy Miracles YouTube. Yep.
Okay. So
All right.
go to Surrogacy Miracles YouTube channel, and we are live there, and you can drop your questions there. I'll try to answer some here. And
We're going to get that.
okay, Shadina, we're late. Let me blame it on her. Y'all see this? Shadina, we're late.
No,
We're
I've
ready
been
to
here
start.
all day. I've been ready all day.
I've been ready all day.
We're ready. And so we have Brian Keith here. Did you guys? So go to YouTube at Surrogacy Miracles YouTube, and that way you can be able to see all of us.
And you guys are live.
Okay.
So just know they can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear
So
me?
you guys are good. There's not an echo.
Okay.
But you
Super
can't
duper.
hear me. Yeah, I don't. But you can't hear me because I don't hear myself. No, it's not a
Say
problem.
something.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's a delay.
Oh, but you can.
Good evening, everybody. Glad you could join
Oh, but
us.
you
Thank
can-
you for bearing with us as we have these technical difficulties. I think we have it all together now. And so we are ready to talk about all things surrogacy and especially gestational carrier. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is a special gift. It takes a special person. And those are the ladies we want to talk to tonight.
Yes.
We're going to play a quick clip and come right back.
All
All
right.
right. So we're going to play a quick clip, and we'll be right back.
All right.
So we're going to play a quick clip, and we'll be right back.
You have questions here.
Mute your mic
All over the place.
when you're talking because they can hear you talking because you're live. All right, you guys are on.
All right.
All right. Well, welcome back, guys. We are going to talk about all things gestational carriers. We want to share information about becoming a gestational carrier. So any additional questions that you may have, we want to answer tonight. So make sure you put your questions in the comments. Make sure you are watching us on Surrogacy Miracles YouTube page. And then we're on all platforms right now on IG. Okay. We also have Brian Keith here. And he has some of the questions that we can get started with. And then we're going to answer some of the live questions that we see. Okay. So we're going to start with one of those questions while Brian gets those questions together that we already had that people sent in. One of the questions I saw was, how many times is it suggested that you carry? Which is a good question because we've
been toying with that answer.
Right.
I mean, I think we have to be honest. It's like pregnancy. We can't really tell a woman how many times she can get pregnant unless there has been a complication of some sort or a reason we would tell you not to carry again. We would probably tell you rest between carries, though. Definitely give your body a rest. If you had complications, obviously we would say be careful if you've had some repetitive losses, if you were severe preeclamptic, or if there were things that would make a second pregnancy complicated, I would be cautious to say carry multiple times.
Right. For carriers, though, like clinics have a cutoff, though. So normally five or less, but then there are some that will take 6, like overall, like as far as surrogacy. So if you've had more than 6 pregnancies, that's going to kind of count you out for moving forward to be able to carry. But less than that, a good 8, like a good range would be like 3 or 4, and definitely with no complications.
I think about a 3rd or 4th time, most women have given themselves to society. So.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. A, do you have anything to add from the IVF standpoint on that?
Where is that?
We can't hear you, Dr. A.
Your
Unmute.
mute is mic. Your mic is muted.
She's unmuted. She might need to turn her volume.
Turn your volume up on your device. You're sideways.
She's not muted.
You're not muted. We can't hear you. Okay. Nope, we can't hear you, and we don't have you muted on our side. So see if your device as itself as a whole is muted. Okay. Well, we'll come back to Dr. A while she works on that. Let's see what else questions we've had. Birth 8.
We do have one on your chat. You know how to work your chat.
Where? Right here.
The comments.
We got a question here. Let's see. The average cost of surrogacy. Okay, so that's from like an overall standpoint. There's no $1 amount. We get that all the time. There's so many variables in surrogacy that you can't just say, hey, this is what it's going to cost. And a lot of the things that people go through in surrogacy, you don't know till you get to that point, like the number of transfers, if there's multiple babies. So if you end up with twins, if a carrier is put on bed rest, those are some of the things that you can't really determine until you are actually in the meat of the surrogacy. But if we had to put an average cost on surrogacy, we would say somewhere between 90 to 150K. So it's not cheap.
It's not. It's truly an investment. But the more you a la carte, the more you say, I want my carrier to be a vegan. I want my carrier to have this. So the more you ask for, the more you pay for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I guess Dr. A, did she go back out? I think I see her there.
I see her there now.
You're going to put her back in.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
No.
Oh, you can hear her? Okay. All righty. Some more questions. This is the process for 2 males. Okay, like the egg donor and the sperm process. That would be a good question for Dr. A. So egg donor, you can purchase an egg from any egg bank. We have the capability to connect you when you're ready to get to that point in the process. And then the sperm, of course, you have to have the sperm wash and diluted, and then they'll put the eggs and the sperm together to create your embryo. So 2 males, we get a lot of questions, which I was wanting Dr. Asamoto to answer, is if you have the possibility of combining sperm.
I definitely have heard of it happening. I think it is clinic by clinic to decide whether you can or can't, because you don't want to know who the father is. But I definitely know that there are parents that I've taken care of where they combine the sperm.
Okay. So if you want to go that route, that is a possibility. And again, it's going to be the determination of the IVF doctor that's actually completing the creation of the embryo, whether or not because not all of them do that, right? Right.
But so just to clarify, our role, of course, is kind of the middle person. between the surrogate and the parents. And we definitely will work with you with your infertility clinic, with your OBGYN. So we're there to make sure, we're almost like a project manager.
Right.
Is to make sure everything is flowing as it should. The beauty of it, of course, Shadina has done this twice.
Yeah.
I have taken care of surrogates and their intended parents, and Dr. Asamoto obviously is a fertility specialist who understands the process on her end. So we have everything covered from, walk a mile in your shoes. She's walked in them twice. I know the hard parts is, whether the surrogate wants the parents to know this part about her life. So we just kind of bring it all together. We're like the project managers, and I won't say you can't get any better, but you certainly will get 3 people who have experienced it from all angles.
And just we're really here to talk about gestation carriers because we are in need. We need carriers here in Georgia. We need carriers, New York, Maryland, Texas. Some of those are the states that we really need help in. What people don't know, it's very difficult. If most intended parents know, it's very difficult to find a carrier that qualifies. There are a lot of
that qualify.
That qualify. That's the thing. So there's the percentage is like 1% of carriers that actually clear once they sign up. We could have 100 people sign up, and then one or two may actually be able to get through the whole process to clear, which makes it very difficult. What makes it very difficult to clear. So when you think of it from that aspect, that's why there's such a need, especially in our community, for gestational carriers, because there is a little bit more difficulty clearing the psychological aspect of it, which is very important, and then the medical aspect of it. And so it's not just based on the qualifications or the intended parents selecting someone they know that they want to carry. And Dr. A, once we get her unmuted, she can speak to more of that as far as the requirements that come through the clinic. So it's not just up to us as an agency or you as the parent or the carrier. They're just that they want to carry. There are a lot of requirements that they have to meet to be able to move forward.
First and foremost, you have to be healthy. And healthy is, an appropriate BMI, no serious chronic illnesses, no psychological or true mental illnesses. And you have to definitely qualify from that perspective. So if you already know, you're poorly controlled diabetic, chronic hypertensive, morbidly obese, you're probably not going to meet those qualifications. But women who are willing to give their bodies as a gift, and it's truly a gift that you are giving to a couple. So make sure, if that is you, if you are even slightly interested, we do encourage you to inquire, because you would be surprised at what you could give back by just asking the question and see if you qualify.
One of the questions I can see from here, it says, what's the age limit to be, what's the got 20/20 vision? Okay, good. What's the age limit to be a surrogate? So we accept them between 21 and 40 years old. 40 years old. 40. But there are some clinics that will accept to 43.
43, 44.
No, 43.
43 is it? I'm trying to hear for the mature women.
Right. So 40 is the cutoff. 21, a nice sweet spot, of course, is somewhere between 25 and 35, because he's still considered advanced maternal, even though you're caring for someone else.
After 35.
After 35.
Yes.
And a lot of the clinics look at the age of the egg donor. So, they make that, and that's a different age. That's a completely different age. But as far as a gestational carrier, it is 21 to 40 for us. Are you able to see some of the questions? Okay, you can probably help tell us some of them, because I do see they're kind of going fast. Do gestational surrogates have to live in the state you listed? No, they don't all. That's where we kind of really need carriers. There's only 5 states that we're looking to support right now: Louisiana, Washington State, Arizona, New York. The doors are open; they're not completely open. So
but much better than they were.
Much better than they were.
Okay.
Yeah. So the doors are open; it's not completely open. So we're moving slowly with them. That is one of the states that we will be taking carriers in. So you don't have to live in those states, just not in one of those other states that we mentioned. So if you're somewhere else and you call inquire, that's how you start to get the information that you need to, to know what you can or cannot do. So definitely reach out. Is it true that surgeons can choose when to terminate a pregnancy?
Read the question again.
Is it true that surrogates can choose when they terminate a pregnancy?
That's contractual. You guys have made that agreement in the contract before the pregnancy ever starts as to the understanding as to who determines if they will terminate a pregnancy.
Yeah. So you've agreed upon that before you're pregnant. So if there is a need to terminate, a lot of carriers will say for medical necessity. A lot of intended parents will agree also for medical necessity. So, I mean, it is your body, but contractually you would have already have said what kind of what your beliefs are there. So everybody kind of is on the same page and have the clear expectation moving forward. Dr. A still muted?
Can you hear me?
Herself, she just unmuted.
Oh, can we hear you, Dr. A?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Why can't we hear her?
I can hear
I
her.
can hear you.
Is it because we're on the headphones?
I can
Maybe.
hear. I have my ear.
I can hear her loud and clear.
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you now. You know what?
Okay.
Okay, now we're cooking. We got fried chicken now.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, Dr. A. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. I think, Dr. Jackie and Shadina have given like a brief overview as think of, SMC as the project managers, because, I think at least from a fertility doctor perspective, which is why it's good to have all three of us, that they're the gatekeepers, but fertility doctors still have to do their due diligence. So I really like the point they made. They're project managers, but we still have to look over everything, right? The most important thing is you're in good health. A tested uterus, meaning a woman who is delivered, is usually a requirement that she's delivered baby. She's not had any serious complications, but having an agency do some of the legwork is very, very makes the whole process smoother and easier. So by the time a carrier comes to a fertility doctor like myself, when some of the legwork is done, then I just have to make sure, okay, all her parts look okay, so uterus look okay. Does she have anything that could prevent a successful pregnancy from going on? But this is just part of the process, and why it's great to have such a great team. You have an obstetrician, someone who's done it, and then a fertility doctor like myself, so we can look at all areas.
Okay, awesome. And we, enjoy working together as a team. We've seen some great stories. Can you hear anything?
No sound.
Can you guys hear us? Is it back? We can't hear her. Oh, we can't hear Dr. A on the live.
Oh, they're gonna have to
Okay.
go to the
So-
Because she's not on the line.
Okay, you guys can't hear Dr. A because she's only on the YouTube, so you have to go to the YouTube page as well. All right. All righty. There was another question there. Is there a question we can see? She may need to go into the live. She needs to come out of this and go on the live. She needs to join in the live.
She's on the YouTube just fine though. See
Right,
how-
but if they're not on the YouTube and they're just watching it from the live, that's why. Yeah. Can you hear us, you guys? The YouTube page is at Surrogacy Miracles. I see that question there. Okay. All right. You see some more questions? Yeah, that's fine. What questions you got, Brian?
Okay. So I am Brian Keith, celebrity event planner and host, and even through all these difficulties, we have very, very important information. And the first question I have for you guys is, what if I do not get pregnant the first time I do the transfer? will I have to start over?
That's like the worst part of my job. If they don't get pregnant the first time, the transfer
Will I
doesn't
have to
take
start over?
the first time, right? Do they have to start over? So you don't have to like start over, but you do have to have another transfer. So you don't have to meet another family, get another intended parent, kind of do the whole process over, but you will have to take additional medication and have another transfer. So kind of, sort of, it's unfortunate. We always like one-time transfers. That would make us 100%, right?
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not the case. The IVF doctors, Dr. A can speak, they have gotten it down to a science and have gotten better with being able to do one-time transfers, but it doesn't take all the time. And so if so, you will have to have another transfer. Most intended parents and their gestational carrier will sign up for 3 transfers together in a cycle.
It's just like having your own IVF cycle. It's not 100% when it's the patient herself. So it is the same with surrogate.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I have a few more questions over here. The next question is, am I able to have sex while I'm carrying?
What's the YouTube channel?
They want to have sex.
Will they able to still have sex while they're carrying?
That is another one of those contract agreements you have with the intended parents. That is a real serious conversation you should have up front, because if you say in your contract you will not, then you have to remain true to the contract.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's all information that needs to be discussed up front. And it really depends on what kind of relationship you are in once what you're in the process of it. So if you're married, we understand that will still need to be intimate with your spouse, but there is a time frame when you're taking medication, taking some of those hormonal shots and trying to get pregnant for surrogacy, that you cannot have sex. And so you will have to sustain during that time. And then once you are, pregnant and we are confirmed that it is through surrogacy, then you can return to that if, the doctor says it's okay and you guys have agreed upon it in your contract.
Now, she said something a little funny. You're pregnant through surrogacy.
Well,
because weirder things have happened. If you're taking medication and having sex with your partner, we want to make sure it's pregnant with the surrogate.
Right, with the intended parents.
With the intended parents, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can ask for paternity tests, of course, to verify, and if not, then we got a whole nother problem, a whole nother situation. What else you got? We'll take one more from the list.
How much do I get paid for carrying a baby for someone?
Everybody want to know how much they get paid. Right. Because, again, that's the $1 amount, and it depends on what all is in your contract and what you agree upon with your intended parents. On average, somewhere carriers, it depends on if they're a first-time carrier, experienced carrier, the location that they live in. Again, if they're carrying multiple babies, will depend on the amount. But somewhere between 40, 50 could be a good starting point. And that's good money to be
take home pay.
Yeah. So, it's a gift of life. It is the ultimate gift. You can't really put a dollar amount on something like that, being, carrying for 9 months and making a commitment like that for a family. So, what do you think about that?
I think you have to be in it with your heart.
Right.
It can't only be about the money. So it is something that you are giving back, but there is an exchange that takes place. So that 40 to 50 is a range, and it is, again, something at the beginning of the contract.
Yeah.
I do want to ask this one more question, Shadina.
Okay.
I see on the list because I think it's important. They're asking, are there any support groups throughout the process they may be able to join if they need to?
Yeah, we actually have one within Surrogacy Miracles. We have one for intended parents as well as the gestational carriers. You're going to need a support system going through a process like this. It's one of the main things that we look at as well when we clear a carrier. So if you live in a state alone and don't have much family, there's nobody to take you to the doctor, there's no one to talk to, this may not be the job, this may not be the task for you at hand. So yes, there are support systems out there. There's multiple Facebook groups and different organizations that you can sign up for to kind of help you. They actually have on Facebook different groups. It depends on when you have your transfer. So if it was a March transfer, there was a March transfer group. And so they kind of communicate along the process with each other as they go through their journey. Because you'll need that. You'll have to have it. I didn't get a final answer. Yeah.
Maybe not the job for you. It's just not the right time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see more questions? We're going to take a couple more questions. I don't know. Does that scroll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I had just diabetes with my last child, would that disqualify me?
No, it's kind of the same with pregnancy. Obviously, it's if you had gestational diabetes. Now you do have to have a willingness to control your diabetes. Like if you're a gestational diabetic, you know how we ask you to check your glucose. We ask you to eat certain foods. You may have more monitoring involved if you are a gestational diabetic, but just because you had it with the last pregnancy doesn't necessarily mean you'll have it with this pregnancy.
Dr. A, do you agree with that?
I do. Just because gestational diabetes is not something that could reoccur. So as like Dr. Jackie said, it's not an exclusion to be a carrier.
Yeah. That's great. You heard it from the two doctors. It does not exclude you. So if you're considering, sign up. All right. What else we got there? Are some surrogates open to living with the family that they're caring for?
Say it again.
Are some surrogates willing to live with the family that they're caring for? We've actually had families request that.
Yeah.
So it's not the ideal situation because, of course, remember, to even qualify, you have to have your own children. So that means you and your children would be moving into the home of the intended parent. So I'm not going to say it's not impossible.
Now that's getting a little Lifetime movie networking.
We have seen it. We have seen it.
But that would take a special family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. What else we got? You see questions? You got questions on yours?
We are taking questions now, guys. So if you put your questions in here, we'll be able to answer them.
Okay. Make sure we didn't miss anything.
I pinned the YouTube channel here for you, so it's there. It's Surrogacy Miracles.
All right. Any more questions, you guys? All right. You got another question? Brian?
Yes. I am afraid of needles. Do I have to take a lot of shots?
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of needles. Do I have to take a lot of shots? We're not going to beat around the bush with that. Yes.
Yep. You don't qualify. You have to learn to stick yourself a lot. A lot.
So
yeah. So if you have a support system, some people they don't mind being stuck, but don't like to stick themselves. But in seriously, they teach you to stick yourself. So because somebody's not going to always be around to help you with that. But if you have a spouse or somebody that's willing, or if there's a combination for someone else to be able to do it every time, then okay. But if you don't like needles, I just don't think that it's just because then you're more likely to not do it when you're supposed to do it, and then that decreases the success of the transfer actually working. There's multiple things. There's multiple things that could disqualify someone.
So I have a question. I'm going to ask Dr. O. This patient said she has epilepsy. Would she qualify?
Possibly, as long as her seizures are well controlled and she's not on any anti-seizure medicines that could cause harm to the baby. Because some seizures are very mild and not exacerbated during pregnancy. So she is someone that I would say needs to see a high-risk doctor first, just to see if she's suitable to carry. But possibly.
Okay.
Here's another great question since we're in a pandemic. What if the family is against vaccinations during pregnancy? Now that's where it gets a little different, and that's new for us because we've never had a pandemic.
Mhm.
And so that
Are
is
y'all
something
vaccinated?
again.
Are
Yes,
y'all
we are.
vaccinated?
We are vaccinated OBs. But we are, again would say that's an agreement that you and the surrogate and attendant parents would have to make.
Yeah, these are questions that we're asking now ahead of time to find out what the belief on for being vaccinated. So we want to make sure that matches as well, and that information would be in the contract now. Because if you believe in getting vaccinated, and then now they're saying you're pregnant, it's time to be vaccinated, and the intended parent said, "Well, I don't want my baby introduced to any vaccines," we may be having a problem, which we want to address ahead of time. Now, Dr. A, as far as carriers coming in to have transfers, is the recommendation still to be vaccinated before they actually have the transfer?
Yeah, before, after, during, there really isn't like a stop to get vaccinated. So if it's available, please get vaccinated. If you have to get vaccinated in the midst of the transfer process or afterwards, yes. So having a vaccination, it's not a requirement, but it's encouraged, and it shouldn't be, because there are a lot of myths out there that the COVID vaccine could cause like sterility, could cause miscarriage, and none of that has been shown to be true. So, so if they're vaccinated, great. If they want to get vaccinated, also great. So it's not that we won't transfer, but it's encouraged.
Now, I would encourage you guys to go to YouTube so you can hear Dr. O's
Yeah.
response. And she just said that we encourage vaccination before, during, or after. So we, as most OBGYNs, do believe that the COVID vaccination has more pros than cons. And there was a question, would the vaccine harm the baby? We have not seen from any of the studies that the COVID vaccination is causing problems for the unborn fetus.
Okay. It's a question here. Would the family accompany the surrogate to doctor's appointments? Is this also contractual? Yes, it can be. A lot of intended parents want to be able to go to the ultrasounds and kind of keep up with what's going on throughout the pregnancy. Again, that's going to be something you're going to be aware of up front based on the contract to say that they will attend doctor's appointments, the birth, whether both parents will be in the room. Again, COVID, that's kind of changed. So, but yes, they do go to doctor's appointments. They're in there sometimes when you're getting checked, and you get real comfortable with each other. And again, that's all agreed upon up front. Okay.
And so this is about contracts. It's like buying a house. It's like buying a car. This is a contractual relationship. Now, unless it's your family member, which I still would encourage strongly that you have a contract, this is really all about what's in the contract. And you guys sit down and agree on that before you're ever pregnant.
Here's a good question for the both of you, Dr. Jackie and Shadina. Once you are paired with your surrogate, do you have to pay the full balance up front, or do they take installments? This have come up a couple times on the page.
Yeah. So no, it's not. You don't pay your carrier all up front. It's the money is managed through an escrow account, and they're paid out on a monthly basis. They don't even start to get the bulk of the money until they're actually pregnant. Baby has a heartbeat. And then it is released on a monthly basis. But you will have to put all of that money in an escrow account ahead of time. So they're not just giving all of the money at one time. And if for something unfortunate happens in the pregnancy, there is a prorate. Again, it's in the contract.
It's in the contract.
Agreements, if something were to happen, this is what will be paid out. This is where it'll stop and moving forward.
So we really would love you to drop some information in if you are serious about becoming a surrogate. We want to send you some information directly. We'd like to talk to you because, again, we need women who are willing to be surrogates.
Yeah. If you're on our YouTube page, you will see our phone number, 404-484-4630. If you are unsure whether or not you qualify, give us a call. We'll go through it with you and find out. You can also visit our website. It has the qualifications there. There's a screening form that you can complete. We'll contact you as well and go through that. Our website is surrogacymiraclesconsulting.org, not .com. That's org.
And somebody asked, it's not just for Atlanta.
Correct. We support intended parents in all 50 states. We're starting to take on international clients as well.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as carriers, again, like I said, we support all states except for those 5 that I mentioned earlier. So if you live in any of those states outside of that, call us, sign up. We have families ready. They would be so blessed to have you providing the ultimate gift of life. All
And
right.
Blessing asked again about costs, and I think we'll just keep talking about the cost. The cost is a range between $90 to $150, and it really depends on what the family's asking of you.
Yeah.
And that's the total cost for the entire surrogacy journey. That's not what you as a surrogate would receive.
Right. That's not what we make either. All right. Well, I think we've answered a good bulk of the questions. We're going to still look at some of the questions that are here and reach out to some of you guys. And again, call us, visit our website. There's inquiry forms, there's screening.
I'm going to stay live for a minute so I can address some of your questions. We're going to log off the YouTube, but I'm going to stay live on my Dr. Jackie's page and Shadina's page.
Yeah.
And is it Hope Fertility, Dr. Asamoto, that you're on?
Or you're on yours. You
I could go on.
say that again.
I said I could
You
log
can probably
in.
log out of here and go to your live.
Yes.
If you go to your
I'm going to address some of the
Instagram,
questions.
we're going just to Instagram now. All right. Thank you guys so much. And this will be on the YouTube for them to go back to look at, right? Okay. So, all righty. Thank you guys.